On today's video of the R32, we almost folded the headliner in half, we failed to do a roof tie, and we found a lot more rust. Bree even made a surprise appearance. So although I've got this new kicker sound system, it is still in a 30-year-old car. So what I want to do is add a bunch of sound deadener in the boot to try and help that bass come through. The only sound deadener I'm removing is the stuff from in the wheel well. This is because I found a little spot of rust down in there. But after looking at it, it's a bit deeper than what I thought, but because it is a hole and it's right above the gas tank, today is not the day for cutting and welding. So all I'm going to do is just grind back everything that I can in any spots, then we're going to hit it with a bit of sealer before we go and cover it with our sound deadening. I did run out, so I had to go and purchase a little bit more, and once we got that fresh roll, it was time to do the boot lid. This is where I think it's going to make the biggest difference. We can chuck everything back in, reattach the speaker, and then start on the interior of the car. The seats are coming out to try and make a little bit more room. I do need to undo the seat belts, and everything that's attached to the roof needs to come down so I can drop the roof liner. A lot of these plastics here as well are broken and cracked, so I will be spending a bit of time trying to re-glue these and get them a little bit nicer. Just look at the damage on these things. I even managed to find another piece that had fallen off somewhere, but I don't want to know how much it costs to get some good condition ones of these. Now it's to tackle everything on the roof. All of the handles, visors, mirrors, lights, everything comes off so that we can drop the roof liner. I even found a very sketchy Ziploc bag up behind one of the front lights. Thankfully, all of these front trim pieces are in pretty good condition, so we don't need to worry about that. Now we just need to try and panic and not have this thing fold in half. It's got the consistency of cardboard and about 2 inches on either side where the sunroof is. Next up, I need to remove the plastic trim for the sunroof so I can take the sunroof out. There are a few little rust spots that I want to try and focus on here. And with the sunroof out, we can check out where that rust is and just how bad it is. I have tried everywhere, just everywhere, to try and find a seal. And nothing. I managed to find one that's just like a little D, like a U shape. Shut up, duck. Yeah, nothing I could find would be something that would suit this, because I need something that's like that D shape on top of a T. So like a T and then like the D on top, because then that little stick bit sits into the channel and nowhere has it. So I think I just need to leave it in because there's no way of taking it off without it just getting completely destroyed, which really sucks. So hit it with the wire wheel, a small wire wheel on a drill, get some paint on it, let it dry, and then it goes back in. I wanted to try and clean up the roof before I dyed it, but after a little test patch, it essentially didn't do anything, so we're just going to leave it. I put a whole packet of this fabric dye in, hoping that it would do something. When you first apply it, it looks like it's going to work the way I wanted it to, but after 4 coats on this fabric, it just turned it to a slightly darker grey. So we decided to go with the black spray paint method. This is just getting lightly dusted onto the fabric, and then we're going to follow it up with a rag just to rub it all in. That way it stops it from clumping up in the fabric. Then after a second coat, I think that should be good enough coverage. And here's your difference between the stuff that was dyed black versus the actual black paint. So with that confirmation, the sunroof visor is getting the black paint as well. Once everything's dry, we can start to reassemble the car, and that's not before finding more rust on the inside. Thankfully this is just surface rust, so we're going to hit that with a wire wheel and use a vacuum cleaner to try and catch any of that rust dust and try not to hit that window. A little bit of rust treatment paint and sealer gets the job done just before we go and chuck the roof liner in, followed up by everything else. So I went through about 3 packets of super glue, gluing up all the cracks and breaks in the plastic trim. One day I do want to pull these off again, just to pull off that wrap, lay a bunch of fiberglass on it just to give it a nice smooth finish again, and then wrap it in something different. I'm hoping some sort of black suede. Time to take the door cards off so we can now do some sound mods at the front. I want to chuck down a bit of sound deadening inside the doors. Now this stuff didn't really want to stick down, and I now realize I probably should have wiped the doors down with a bit of wax and grease remover, or just to get rid of all the dust that was on them, but I was stressed for time and didn't really think about that. So one day I probably will go back and redo this as well. And here's the mess we're left with. Another day's arrived and Bree's been a legend in helping me out with the car to reassemble it. She did a quick vacuum while I sorted out all the seat belts, and then she even gave it a go using the DAC to do up the seat bolts. Press it in a little bit, so like pull the trigger, it'll start to spin. Yep, and yep, and like give it a little bring. Yeah, there we go. One more. Nice. Come across to this one. Might be a bit of an awkward one. Make sure it sits flat. Yep, off you go. Yep. Bing. You're gonna push the seat all the way back. And of course, with all the sound deadening in, we needed to do a sound test. Next up, we're going to fix up this handbrake situation. So you're going to cut the foreskin and give it a circumcision before you pull this whole thing off. Then you can slide the handbrake boot off, followed by the rubber. Chuck the handbrake boot back on, and now we can have a look at our new GK Tech parts. Inside the box we've got a handbrake cover, some GK Tech stickers, and an Allen key just in case you don't have the correct size. So here's our shiny new handbrake. This slides straight on, and then once it's in place, tighten up the Allen key screws. Now to clean up the look, we're going to use a likewise handbrake button. This is a pretty easy install, just put it the right way that you want it, and then just push that thing in. Once it's on, the yank stick is now complete. And being black aluminium, it's definitely going to cook your hands during summer. And that brings us to the end of this video.